Welcome to another episode of Puro Biz. We have here Yvette Marquez with Muy Bueno Cooking. Nice to meet you, Yvette.
Nice to
Excited
meet you.
to have you here.
I'm excited to have you here in my home.
Thank you for receiving me here. And I've been, I connected with you, and you've been so great with me to allow me to share your story. But yeah, tell us, who's Yvette? What are you promoting, and let us know what's this.
Yeah, so my blog is muybuenoblog.com.
Muy bueno, okay.
And I've been on my socials. It's Muy Bueno Cooking.
Okay.
And I started Muy Bueno because my daughter, 15 years ago, she was 8 years old, and she asked if I had our family recipes written down. She's like, so when she was counting down to go to college since she was 8 years old.
Okay, okay.
Like, so when I go to college, I can have these recipes. Oh, that's weird. Like, never have we thought about writing these recipes down.
Okay.
And my grandma passed away in 2004. So my daughter was only 2 years old when my grandma passed away.
Okay.
So she didn't have the memories that I have, growing up with my grandma next door.
Right.
And so anytime I cooked, I would call my mom like, ¿Qué le pongo a las enchiladas? It's a little bit of this, a little bit of... Nothing was ever written down. So I said, okay, that's a good idea. Like, I'll start a family cookbook.
Okay.
And that's how it started. And I named it Muy Bueno because my grandma would always tell people, siéntate a comer, está muy bueno.
Okay,
so
okay.
that's the way it started. And so then it was a friend of mine who said you should start a blog. And this was in 2010.
Okay.
I literally had to Google what is a blog. I had no idea what a blog even was. But I was like, at the time, I was a full-time graphic designer. And I was like, I could design a cute logo.
Oh, that's cool.
And come up with a blog and start sharing my story and my recipes. And that's how it started.
Wow. So you started doing you obviously liked to cook before, no? No? Okay.
That's the funny thing is my family would laugh at me growing up that que nunca me voy a casar because I didn't like to cook. But it was once I had kids that it's like I realized that's our love language to our family.
Oh yeah,
and I
definitely.
love to entertain. So I learned to cook a lot as I became a mother.
Oh wow.
And so now my daughter's 23 years old. And then our youngest son is 17. So they've grown up. That's what I do. Now they think I was a cook from forever, but I didn't. It wasn't until my, early 30s that I started really cooking.
Wow, that's so interesting.
That tells you the math of how old I am.
Yeah. And what did you do for that blog? Like, how was that? Like, what was your train thought behind it? Okay, so you said your friends recommended for you to do a blog, and then what?
And so then I just started, it actually started more with Facebook. I would take photos with my crappy phone at the time, and just post them on Facebook and talk about, I'm writing a cookbook for my family. And people would be like, where's the recipe? I want this cookbook. And so that's how it grew. I just started sharing my stories and a lot of memories. Growing up, my mom was a single parent mom and my grandma lived next door. So it was a lot of storytelling of the recipes that I grew up with, from northern Mexico, from Chihuahua, and growing up in El Paso. And so that's how my stories started. And I just loved telling stories. And so then as the blog started growing, people were leaving me comments that I didn't even know. It reached after family and friends. It was like, people were like, ooh, where can we buy your cookbook? I was like, what? Like, I wasn't a chef. I wasn't a celebrity. And, but people really resonated with the stories and the history and the family values and the culture. And so it just started growing. And never did I know that you could even make money from a blog. I just started it as a hobby.
Wow.
And then as the cookbook idea grew, then I figured maybe I can publish this and not just have a little family cookbook, but have a real cookbook that I can sell to other people.
Right.
So,
and do you remember what was the first like food that you prepared and posted about it? Do you remember that?
Mole. It was so stupid because it was like a Food Network magazine competition.
Okay.
And I remember that it was like, if you make the ingredient of the month is, I don't know what kind of chocolate chips. Okay. So I decided I'm going to make mole, and I'm going to submit this to Food Network magazine, and I'm going to get discovered. That was like my whole idea. But I was like, oh, I'm going to show how I can make mole with chocolate chips. And so that was my very first blog post, which is hysterical because I don't even share the recipe because it's secret. It's going for the Food Network. And but it's just so corny, but it's still on my blog. Because it's just sentimental for me to where I started.
Wow.
And then I think the second ones were like fig empanadas, you know, because empanadas are huge growing up. Like we had a lot of apple trees and peach trees and membrillo. And so my grandma would always make these amazing empanadas. And so I was like, I'm going to do one with figs. And so I mean, just random things that... that I would make, but I would talk about other recipes like capirotada, which is a Mexican bread pudding. And everybody's like, I want that recipe. And so, you know, so it was just little by little, I would just share recipes, depending what the season was. You know, I celebrate that way. I cook that way. I have a garden. So whatever's in season, so cool. That's how I cook.
Yeah, and with us Latin, we have different type of foods with holidays and stuff like that. But one thing that I wanted to touch on is that when you decided to make the recipes, it's interesting because sometimes you look for a specific recipe that when you look it up is totally different from what you're used to. Let's say like in Venezuela, we have like the Venezuelan ground beef, right? And like you put like Venezuelan ground beef and it's like so hard to find, and there's other parts of the world that have their own recipe. So it's cool that you are bringing this, you know, like the type of way that you learn, because everyone has a different experience.
And when it comes to Mexican food, everybody will fight about how authentic it is, you know? You know, to be simple picadillo, you know, like some people add raisins to it, some people add peas to it. You know, it's like it could be so different for every family. And so that in itself is like fun conversation, because that's not how my abuela makes it. You know, like
and when did you started seeing traction on it? Like, do you remember that time? Right away.
I mean, I feel like back then people were hungry for blogs. You know, I think it was a fun way to connect to. I didn't even understand it at the time. It was so funny because I think back and I remember a friend said, oh, I typed frijoles on Google and your recipe came up first. Is it because I know you? And I was like, maybe. I mean, I didn't think so. I know, but I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't understand SEO. I didn't understand Google. I didn't write for that. But because at the time I was not very many, you know, websites out there were sharing Mexican recipes. So now it's fun to, when people tell me, oh, I Googled sopapillas or I Googled buñuelos, whatever it might be, and your recipe's up on first. And it's like, ooh, I love that. I love hearing that, because that's my growth strategy, because I would love to be known as one of the number one Mexican food sites out there.
Of course, yeah, no, that's
especially in the age of AI, because there's so many fake websites.
But and also, I imagine it's not only cooking, but you also had to learn how to like set up the plate, no? Because if I guess in the internet also the pictures sell a lot.
Exactly.
So how do you you had to learn to do that, no?
Yeah, so that was my first thought, is like, okay, I was looking at blogs, and then I am very visual since I was a graphic designer, and my degree is art and graphic design. And so I would look up other websites, and, you know, the photos were horrible, or the writing was horrible, or the lighting was horrible, the styling, whatever. And I'm like, next. Like, even when I buy a cookbook, I make sure there's pretty photos, or that there's a photo with every recipe. So to me, being a visual person, I knew that I wanted that for my site.
Yeah.
So,
and I imagine that it used to, well, graphic designer, in my opinion, has become easier and easier with the years. But at that time, like, people wasn't even thinking of that. And also, like, you had an advantage there a bit, I think.
Yeah, and I think going back, and I hear a lot of other blogger stories, a lot of them came from creative backgrounds. So a lot of us were creative entrepreneurs that, you know, we just happened to stumble upon blogging, that thankfully it became a business that we were able to grow with it.
No, I think the internet works that way. The founder of Airbnb, he was a graphic designer as well, and that's why the Airbnb like looks so creative and stuff. Like, that's one of his main, you know, like, focus on, like, everything so seamlessly and looks good. And
that makes, if you don't have a good user experience, or if a site is too slow, or if it's too busy, it's going to turn people off. And so I knew that from the get-go, that you want them to at least, you have, like, I don't remember what it was, like 10 seconds to make a good impression on the internet. So that 10 seconds is going to go quick. So either they're going to backspace, go back to Google and find the next one, or stick around and be like, ooh, what is this? You know, so.
Wow. Yeah. And then going that from, when did you see that, you know, it's more than just your friends, or like, when did you started seeing, like, okay, this thing is growing massively? Like, do you remember that turning point?
Well, I remember very vividly, I had a still full-time job working as a graphic designer and in marketing. And I got a phone call saying it's from Imusa, which is a Hispanic cookware company.
Right.
This is
This
is the president from Imusa, and just wanted to know if you would like to develop recipes for us. And I'm like hiding in a conference room at my job, thinking, like, what? Like, you're gonna pay me to cook and send me free products? And they're like, and maybe if you can make tamales and test our products and give us feedback and do some product research, and, you know, we'll fly your mom and your sister together so that you guys can make tamales together. I was like, yes, please, you know. Please. And so at the time, I was always a freelance graphic designer at the same time, so I always knew how to make extra money on the side. So to me, that was like, okay, I'll do that for extra money and just keep doing that, never thinking it was gonna keep growing and keep growing. So that was in 2010, and then little by little, I was getting more opportunities like that. But I still had my full-time job, and I was writing my book, you know, at night, or like till 3 a.m.
Wow!
And I'd come home, make dinner, you know, take care of the kids, do everything. But then, as soon as the kids were in bed, like 9 o'clock, I was 2, 3 a.m. because I was so excited and so passionate, you know, trying to write the cookbook. And
how were you promoting these products? Was it inside of the blog, or had you already transitioned into social media like Instagram? And stuff?
At the time, there wasn't even Instagram.
Okay.
I think Instagram started later, maybe like end of 2011 or 2010, but I didn't even understand Instagram at the time. I thought initially that it was just filters for photos. Like,
well, it has changed so much as well. Yeah.
So, but initially it was Facebook. Facebook was, there's still, you know, initial followers on Facebook that have been there since day one and are so supportive. And Facebook, I feel, is very underrated, that now I feel it's coming full circle and back. And it's about building community and getting to know your followers and your fans. And Facebook for me has always been that place. And so where I'm kind of, you know, Instagram, I do it because that's where the brands come. That's where, you know, clients find you. But for your followers, for me, it's Facebook.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Pinterest had just started at that time. My big other thing is newsletters. So I have subscribers, and so I would send, you know, a new recipe to my subscribers whenever I had a new recipe. Nice. Yeah, I just kept growing my following.
And when did you realize that you had to like post on Instagram? Because I see you're very active on Instagram, and your content is very nice. It's very beautiful. When did you start like putting more, you know, thought into the social media, the visuals, the videos and stuff?
I would say about 2013.
2013, okay.
Is when I really got serious more about, making sure that I posted everywhere. I mean, at the time, I didn't have a team. It was just me. But thankfully, as my business has grown, I have a Facebook manager.
Wow.
I have a Pinterest manager. I do Instagram on my own. But it's a lot. Social media in itself is a full-time job. So for Instagram specifically, I try and just be consistent. That's the advice I always give to people. Like, if you're going to do something, you need to be consistent. So I try and post something every day, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I try not to beat myself up for it if I don't. But I do it live. I don't schedule anything, and I just post. There's times that I have so much content now at this stage that I can repost something from 2 years ago, and my new followers maybe have never seen it, but my old followers is like, oh yeah, I make that every December, so people are excited about it. So so that's the nice thing is that I do have a lot of content to share.
Okay. Well, one of the purpose of me creating this podcast is to, showcase people that there's other ways to, create a life, and it doesn't have to be, your work from 9 to 5. You can also find creative ways that you might enjoy and you wouldn't expect to make money.
Exactly.
How do you what do you recommend for somebody that has a crazy idea and then wants to start doing something similar to what you do?
I think as long as you have passion behind it, that's what's going to keep you going. Because if you're thinking it's all about the money, it's going to burn you out. And there's just so much competition out there nowadays also. But I feel if you're really excited and truly passionate about something, that's going to shine through. And I feel like what I love still to this day, that I'm still hearing from people saying, like, I've never commented on your recipes before, but I just want to let you know that this brought me back to being in my grandma's kitchen. And it just touched me so much, so stuff like that, that's for me is my biggest motivation I know that I have hundreds and thousands of people who read my blog, who follow my socials, and not everybody's going to comment. So it's nice to hear those because it reminds me why I'm even doing this.
It gets you connected to your content as well.
Yeah.
And how because I guess, there's people that, opportunities kind of fall into them in a way. Let's say for you were posting and then this company offered you products and to pay you. But after that, have you pursue things on your own? Like, let's say, I don't know, write an email to Breville, hey, can I, put you in my blog or whatever. Have you done anything like that? And do you have any advice for people to, to go out of their way and see how can they provide something of value as well?
Yeah, and I mean, that was, I feel like, my background as in marketing. I was promoting myself like crazy, not even thinking it was so corny, but I was looking at big time magazines like Cosmopolitan, Latina Magazine, Vogue, and looking at their advertising deck. And at the time, I was like, okay, I'm going to design a media kit. And I'm going to show them, I'm going to send them to brands, or I'm going to send them to magazines and say, hey, I could be a writer for your magazine, or I can work with you with this product. And I would send, I would look at their websites, find the editor, find their PR person, whatever it might be, and I would pitch myself.
Okay.
And so when I first started, it became a lot of that. I was developing recipes for Betty Crocker website, for KitchenAid website. I was submitting recipes to Latina Magazine, to Better Homes and Gardens. But I didn't even know any better. I always say, don't think that it's not possible, because a lot of things at the time, I feel like they didn't know how to reach out to us either. It was such a new thing. But if it's okay to reach out to others, and the worst that could happen is they say no.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so I've always said, like, I've always had no fear. It's like, okay, well, I don't know them. They don't know me. You know, like they're going to say no and okay, move on to the next person.
Yeah, no, and that's great that you tell me this, because I think people from outside believe that everything, you know, for people that have grown, everything comes to them. But it's actually the other way around. They are, you know, pursuing things actively. And that's one of the things that got me, you know, a switch over, because I'm like, oh, you know, I would love to do this, but I don't know if, you know, if they will say yes. And I started, you know what, I'm just gonna do it and start. And as I DM'd you, and I'm like, hey, I like your content. I think it will be a great story for the podcast. And you reply right away, hey, send me an email and let's see how we do this. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, you know.
You just gotta put yourself out there, because if you don't, I would have probably never found out about your podcast if you wouldn't have reached out to me. Maybe eventually once, you know, but it's nice to meet, especially local, you know, and to support local and support other Latinos in the community. And so that's one of my biggest goals, is to, you know, keep in touch, because people don't even realize I'm here in Colorado. They think, you know, that I'm still in El Paso where I grew up, or, you know, but it's just, I reach the whole nation, so it's not just one place. Yeah, no,
and that's one of the things that also was inspiration of this podcast, like reach the Latino community and showcase like, hey, there's other ways to do things, you know. And I found you, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is, you know, and coming back to that, like, someone, let's say, likes to cook and maybe is thinking, you know, of doing videos and stuff. How can they, like, let's say, write a business model on this? Like, how does your business works? Like, because I'm really interested in entrepreneur, and coming from the outside, I'm like, okay, Yvette does this, but and I see you have promotions and stuff, but I don't fully understand how does the income comes through, because the recipes you're telling me are free. Right. So I'm like, okay.
And the internet is free because of advertising. So just like when you get a magazine, half of that magazine are ads. There's, you know, yes, there's articles, but there's ads. And when I first started blogging, I was busy working with brands and doing sponsored content, or being a brand ambassador, or their on-camera talent. And I still do that. I still do, you know, speaking engagements. So there's always, I monetize in that way, where, you know, I could do an Instagram reel, or I could do a recipe for my blog, or I could do a YouTube video, or I can do the whole thing, or, you know, go to their studio in New York and do a YouTube video. So, I mean, there's different ways, but my number one source of revenue is ad income. Okay. So I work with an ad network, and they facilitate all the companies that promote on millions of bloggers' websites. Wow. And so every month I get a paycheck. So that's passive income, but never did I imagine that being a six-figure income in itself, just the ad revenue. Right. So that's bonus, but it's an amazing bonus. Yeah, no, it's definitely. And that's why the point of growing your business and growing your traffic is because ad revenue is a big source of income. And then there's other things like affiliate income. So Can you explain a little bit what is affiliate? Because I know, like, I understand it because I took a course on social media. I wish there was a course for me when. And I'm like, okay, this influencer, she has a lot of followers, and she sells like 300 air fryers a month. I'm like, oh, that's the way she makes money. But I guess many people, I'm sure, they don't understand affiliate. Yeah, so affiliate, like my number one affiliate is with Amazon. Okay. So not every ingredient, but like my top ingredients, like say tajin. You know, like as a Latino, we all use tajin. A lot of people are like, what is it? So I'll have a link to it, and it goes to Amazon. And if somebody happens to buy tajin, and they also have dog food, diapers, whatever they get from Amazon, guess what? I still get a commission off of all that sale, because I refer them to Amazon with tajín. So it could just be a simple product. When I have cookware, like my stock pots or my comal or my tortilla press or whatever it might be, and people are like, where did you get that? It's like, well, I've had mine for years, but you can get a similar one on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'll share a link. And so with that, I get a commission. So it's like being, in retail. I'm not a big, like, here, you got to get this, because to me, that's not natural for me.
Right.
But if somebody asks, and it could even be an outfit. It could be, like I also work with LTK, which is, they do Pottery Barn. They do, anthropology, they do everything. So it could be, my earrings, and be like, where'd you get those? And I'll find the link and I'll send it to them, and I get a commission on it. So, but I don't really do that, all the time too. That's not my number one source, but it is fun to be like, wow, somebody ordered that because I said that, so.
And then Amazon sends you some money.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So every month, I get, a good car payment, from Amazon a month.
That's cool.
So for me, it's bonus to just be able to say that's awesome.
And then you have here your books.
Yes.
When was the first one published?
So Muy Bueno is my very first one.
Okay.
And I wrote that with my mom and my sister.
Oh, wow.
And so it's 3 generations of Mexican recipes from my grandma, recipes from my mom, and recipes that me and my sister developed.
Okay.
So that was 2012. And then I want to say 2015 is when Latin Twist came out. And it's just cocktails.
Wow.
So it's a book of cocktails from Latin America and Spain.
Okay.
And I actually co-wrote this with another blogger, another Latina food blogger. And so that was fun to collaborate, making cocktails. And then my latest one is Muy Bueno Fiestas. And so that one was published just 2 years ago, so 2023. Okay. And so it's all about the holidays. So it's separated by chapters of holidays. So like right now, Dia de los Muertos is coming up. And so it's how I celebrate the holiday, traditional foods for the holiday, how to set up an altar, how to make sugar skulls, how to make pan de muerto.
Okay.
So every chapter is a holiday of how we celebrate each holiday.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And then, and what advice do you have for somebody, that's thinking of, throwing themselves out there, cooking and stuff? Like, what advice do you have for them?
I think now, especially with social media, you don't even have to have a blog. You don't have to have all this stuff. You can be just a TikToker, an Instagrammer. And if you are true to the things that you love and share, brands will see it. And then you also, it's like YouTube, you make money from your views.
Your views, yeah.
So, I monetize on Facebook, I monetize on Instagram. So the more following that you have, you're also going to make money from there as well.
Yeah.
But then when a brand approaches you, because they see your feed of all this stuff, they know who you are. So I just, like I said before, consistency is posting, because somebody could be like, oh, this person looks really interesting, let me see. But then they're like, oh, they haven't posted since August. So next. So, they see your views, they see how engaging you are with your followers, how you reply to comments, and how I feel like the number one thing that's getting lost with social media is to build connections. And, I like to make sure that I engage with other Latina creators or other people who I just happen to follow, and leave comments, because everybody loves a comment. Everybody loves a reply. Everybody loves to be like, oh, she responded to me.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's funny because my parents sometimes, like for me, I see content creators like super hard to message me back, so I never write them. But my parents don't. So it's like, no, I've been talking to this travel blogger and now we're friends, and they have a couple of influencers already, like their DM like weekly, and I'm like, wow, you can actually connect, because and you know, part of my experience as well, I've invited some people, and it's some of them are so big that I obviously receive so many messages that they cannot reply. But it's funny, like, you know, it's so appreciated when somebody, you know, sends you that message. Hey, I'm actually a person here. It's not just for the cameras. I respond to your comments.
Yeah.
But going back to that, I guess you grew from not cooking to, you know, like just being, you know, having your cookbooks and all of that. And you're telling me that you travel a lot. Do you have a favorite city to travel to where you just think everything is spectacular?
I've gone to Mexico City a couple of times and I've fallen in love with it.
Okay.
Like, I love how the variety of high-end restaurants to street food.
Okay.
And the street food is incredible. Like, you know, and it's the fear that people hear. It's like, oh, you're going to get sick in Mexico if you eat the street food. But I mean, that's their bread and butter. They're not going to be doing something to make people sick. You know,
like
exactly. It's the food is just incredible, and just the history. And actually, what I'm going to be working on is I'm partnering with a vacation company. Oh. And so, because every time I travel, some followers will be like, oh, take me with you. Like, oh, where do I go if I go here? Where do I go here? What do you recommend? And I'm not a travel blogger or influencer, but I do love to travel. And so I'm going to do these private trips where you can come along with me.
Wow.
And so we're working on an itinerary for next year, October 2026, to Oaxaca.
Oh, wow.
And so it's going to be, you know, cooking classes. It's going to be learning about mezcal tasting. It's going to be about, you know, going to meet artisans, to go shop at the mercados. So it's going to be a very curated trip that I'm so excited to promote.
Such a cool idea. I love it. I love it. If you want to do it here, I can help you with anything that you need. I have the Airbnbs, I told you already.
Yeah.
So we might be able to put some people there and do the recipes. But and do you have a favorite restaurant in Mexico City? Oh
gosh, that's the bad thing, is that I'm very bad with remembering the names.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to have to get back to you on that one, because I just spaced out on
Maybe
Pujol.
we'll post.
Pujol is like, it's a very, very famous one.
Oh, you know what? I heard an interview from Pujol. I think one of the chefs is Venezuelan.
Oh.
Yeah. He went to one of my he was an invited guest in one of my favorite podcasts from Venezuela. So
yeah, so he has, I mean, you have to like reserve months before you get in, but the experience is amazing.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the one I could think of firsthand, that you just have to go.
And what about here in Colorado? You've been here for how long?
Long. It's crazy to realize. I've been here since 1998. So my children grew up here. So like 25 years.
Have you? How do you see the food culture?
It's changed so much. When I first moved here, I was like, there's no Mexican food. There's no Latino community. You know, I just felt like I stood out like a sore thumb when I first moved here. You know, I'm like, I'm not a Coloradoan, you know, and so it was really hard for me to like feel represented here. Like it just was very different back then. But now it's so amazing to just go, and even go to the Mexican grocery stores on Federal. Like I love going out there and
Mi pueblo.
Yeah, and going to, what was I going to say? I just recently went, I don't know if you've been there, to El Borrego Negro.
Borrego, no.
It's like this hidden little gem.
Okay.
And it's on Larimer, like in an alley. And I did an Instagram reel about it, because I was just like, really, where am I? Like, this felt like you're walking into a restaurant in Mexico City or Oaxaca. Like, they cook everything in a pit, you know, the barbacoa, conejo, all this crazy fun things. And you can get it like by the pound or just your separate tacos.
Yeah, I think I've seen some reels about it.
Yes, and it's just a fun experience. And I'm like so excited to take my husband, like, right, because it's all outdoors. So you have to make sure the day's nice. And you have to go, it's only open on the weekends. and they close at 3 or when the food runs out. So yeah.
And do you eat out a lot or not really?
Not really. I mean, we just have it so good here. I cook all the time.
Okay.
And when we do go out, we'll go for sushi or something that I'm not cooking at home.
What's your favorite sushi spot?
Oh my gosh. It's pretty funny. It's see, I'm bad at names. It's on Arapahoe. Darn it.
Is it here in Highlands, right?
It's like in Centennial, I guess.
Okay.
But it's super fresh.
Okay.
Is it Land of Sushi? That's what it's called.
Land of Sushi. Okay.
Yeah. And we've gone to other places. And I mean, of course, if you want to be fancy, go to Sushi Den, which is amazing.
Second person that says Sushi Den is...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's always an experience. But of course, you have to reserve it. This is like an easy walk-in place. And I've never been disappointed. So,
Okay. And, I guess you have experienced the growth of Denver and Colorado. Do you see, for somebody that's watching this and, is thinking about maybe opening a business or on the watch for opportunities, do you feel that Denver is missing on something or there's opportunities to open up a business in Colorado or Denver in general?
I guess I can't speak to that just because everybody always asks me, why don't you open up a restaurant? It's like, no. I grew up with owning. My mom was a business owner. My grandma used to own restaurants. And it's like, I've always heard no. Once you have a restaurant, that's like, you live there. So I don't know that experience because I am too scared of that. Do I wish there was more Mexican restaurants? Yes, but I can see how scary it is. It's a huge investment.
It is.
And it's hard. So I really can't say, what's missing out there because of course I could say it so easily. Yeah. But if I'm not daring enough to do it, I mean, there's a little place nearby that's, all Mexican nieves. Like you have the paletas, the raspas, everything. And I'm like, is it gonna last here? I hope so. I hope so. But it's very hard to open up even just any kind of restaurant or retail space.
I went to one of those called La Michoacan.
Yeah.
And then it's packed all the time.
Awesome.
My girlfriend fall in love of it, and then we're like, once she gets something in her head, she's like, I gotta go. And then it's for periods of time, right? So in 1 month we went, I don't know, at least 5 times.
And is that in Denver?
That was in Green Valley Ranch.
I think it must be a spinoff because that's what it is.
Okay.
So I just hope that it works because I've seen them around, and when this one opened here, I was like, wow, in Highlands Ranch.
All the
that's
time.
Good to know. I don't think this one is packed, so I hope maybe this will help, and we all got to go and support them.
Well, location, I guess.
Yeah.
And is there one thing that you have seen in other cities that you have traveled that you wish you had in Denver?
I just recently teamed up with Visit Tucson, and so they sent me out there to experience the Mexican food scene. And it was so funny because being from El Paso, everybody's like, no, El Paso's the number one, when it comes to Mexican food. So everybody claims, they're the best Mexican food. Yeah. But Tucson was incredible. It was just so different because there's a lot of still of the Native American culture still that I feel is kind of disappearing. So you have your Indian fry bread and a lot of traditional things that still go with Mexican food as well. So, more Sonoran style Mexican food. So it was just fun to see the different regions of Mexico and the native, dishes that... it's,
you can.
And that's what I do love about restaurants. That I feel like what lacks here is being specific with Mexican food. I went to this. I think it's called Zócolos. Oh yeah, now I'm bad. It's a Oaxacan style Mexican food in Denver. Incredible. That I was like, wow. I didn't know this existed here. But I love that it was very Oaxaca. Like you walk in and it brought me back to Oaxaca. Like it was like, wow, this is the experience that people need to see, that there's Mexican food is just not enchiladas, beans and rice, you know, like tacos. It's just like there's so many, you know, the moles and the, you know, like really neat dishes. So that's where I think we need more diversity as far as like being very more niche about like the region of Mexico.
No, and I feel it. When one time I was going to California and I had some friends and they're like, oh, you're gonna have the best tacos of your life. And I'm like, well, in Denver I had really great tacos, but it's true, it's different there, and they were great, obviously, and I have still great tacos here. But it's cool to see like there's different Mexican, like it's not written by the same thing, you know, it's like so different everywhere. And I think it happens with any type of food as well. Like the person who cooks it is the one that's, you know, gonna let you know. But yeah, and coming back to that, do you like the growth of Denver and Colorado in general in terms of everything? Like, you know, mostly focus on economics and stuff. Like I know there's people that it's kind of torn because it has grown so much, there's more traffic, but at the same time, you know, people are making more money, you know, we're bringing jobs and stuff like that. What do you think about it?
Well, I think, yes, for selfish reasons, it's growing too big. You know, like it's like the traffic is crazy. There's only one way to go to downtown and it's packed, you know, no matter what day or what time of night it is, like the freeway gets super crazy crowded. But I do love once I'm there, it's just like, wow, like, you know, when I travel, I feel like I travel so much and experience other big cities that I don't even experience my city enough. So when people are like, oh, there's so many cool places in Denver, it's like, there is? Because it's like, I'm just so, you know, it turns me off to go out because it's like, oh, that's going to take me, you know, an hour to get there, you know, with the traffic. So, but yeah, I feel like there's pros and cons about it. Of course, I love that it's growing, but at the same time, it's like, it's just so big, you know, and you in real estate, like I love, you know, when I first moved here, I remember I had never experienced, you know, so many levels of houses, you know, like 3-story, 2-story houses. And I'm like, I want a nice ranch, you know, with acreage. There's hardly that here, you know, like I am craving, you know, space. I'm craving a 1-story home. So those are far and few here.
Well, I can give you some tips where to find some.
But I don't want to be like all the way in Elizabeth, you know?
I mean, you have to dig and look And do you think buying a house is a good investment?
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is me and my husband, till this day, we're always house hunting. We're always looking. We've lived in this house for 20 plus years. My daughter grew up here when she was 3. So 20 years that we've been in this house. And we've just remodeled it because it's our home now, you know, and every time we do look somewhere else, I am so picky and I think, oh, that kitchen is not going to work. Or now I'm going to have to put, you know, it could be $1 million home and you're still going to have to remodel the kitchen or you're still going to have to throw this wall down or to make it more open space, you know, or, you know, there's always something. So I just think, well, we're already here. This is our home. This is where our children grew up. And, you know, that's why we've stayed here so long, because this is our family home. But I would love to invest to either keep this for the children or maybe Airbnb this house and still have another house that we can travel back and forth from. You know, like I love New Mexico or Santa Fe and buy a little hacienda in Santa Fe and live there part of the year once we retire, you know. So those are like my dreams. Like if I could find a place that I can Airbnb here, that's always something that we're talking about.
And have you seen that the price has increased since the time you bought it?
Oh yeah. I mean, 20 years ago, I mean, for sure.
For sure.
And especially with all the upgrades that we've done now, you know, I'm sure if we were to sell our house, it would go very quickly.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Some people are, you know, on the fence of like, oh, should I buy? Shouldn't buy? The interest rate, I don't know. But what I tell him is like, if you find the one, I guess you are gonna, and you stick to it for some time. The price is just gonna increase.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, sometimes I do this question that I ask: if you had to go back 20 years, where would you like buy a house? Like, what's an area that you have seen that it has blown in price?
I mean, in Colorado, you're saying? So, literally during the pandemic, we had put an offer down on a house in Parker.
Okay.
And I loved it. It was like, oh, it was gorgeous, with all this, like I'm tired of having your neighbors so close by. And you walked out and it was like this amazing open space. Deers were coming, through the yard, and it was just beautiful. And I fell in love with it. But then once we started progressing, found out that they were going to start building a subdivision in the back. And so then my husband's like, that's the point of this. Like, you want a house that you're not going to have houses behind us. So during the whole inspection process, there was other issues that ended up coming out. So I was like, okay, if this is giving me that fear, this is a sign. I need to decide if this is it. But thinking about that was 5 years ago. I'm sure that house has
increased,
skyrocketed, because it was just a unique house. And I feel like here in Colorado, there's a lot of cookie cutter homes. They all look the same. And so I love that it was, very kind of like a semi-custom built home. So it was very unique.
Nice. Yeah.
If I could go back, I think I would have bought it. Who cares about,
the other thing?
Yeah. It's like, we still would have had deer coming.
Yeah. The other day I was at Castle Rock, and I've never had experience. I've shown houses and worked there, but I got invited to this party, and this was a totally different neighborhood, and it seemed like a mountain house. It had like the deers come up, and all the view was like at least 180 view of a valley, and I'm like, wow, this exists in Castle Rock. I didn't even know. It's so funny when you start digging and searching. Same when I started working in Evergreen, like I started driving around, and sometimes I just drive around and get lost, like, oh, this is not the GPS sending me here, but I'm doing it on purpose, right? And you find so many great things. So I've always tell people explore more than just take another route and kind of change the universe.
I know. And that's the other reason is like we haven't moved because we still have a boy in high school, and he goes to school in Parker. So I was like, okay, that was perfect for that house because at least he'd still be close to school. But once we've been here so long, this is like our little bubble in Highlands Ranch that we. Our community is here, our friend group is here. I have
that's very important.
Here.
Actually, I've come coming from Venezuela and stuff like that. I've come to appreciate all the aspects of what makes your life good, and community is a big part. It's not only like if it's all feeling comfortable, but at the same time have things to do with your friends. That's a big part of it. Like you can be in the best place in the world, but if you don't have anyone to share it, then it's not that fun. It could be fun maybe for a week, but then after it you're like, okay, what else?
I love to entertain, so you can have this gorgeous house, 20 miles away, and people are like, that's too far. So that's another thing. It's like, no, it's like I host Christmases, I host Thanksgiving, I host,
so cool.
Super Bowl, so it's like I love to entertain. So I don't want that to be taken away, and people don't come because we're too far.
No, I totally get it. Is there something that is your favorite food to prepare for your family, your friends?
We have like the same basics. Like there's always the go-tos that people expect. I made salsa for you, so you want to try some salsa?
I will. I definitely will.
But I mean, I always have cocktails, or I always have salsa, guacamole, a chile con queso or some kind of queso dip.
Okay, I saw the queso dip. Oh, okay. I've been eyeing it for a little bit because like not related to this, I've been like, how do I make the queso? We always ask for queso when we go to Mexican restaurants. And then I saw your recipe. I'm like, oh, this is destiny, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like when people come over, when I first started entertaining, people would, it's kind of like a running joke now because people, you know, the Latinos are always, you know, teased for not showing up on time, you know, but then some of our friends, it's like, oh, they got here right on time. Like, what? I'm still not ready. I'm still in my robe. I'm still with my rollers, whatever. And then people are showing up. So now I know, like, okay, let's have at least appetizers because there's still stuff on the grill or in the oven, you know, at least they have something to munch on while everything else is still cooking. But now I've got it down pretty good that when people show up, there's going to be food. But yeah, I like to do a lot of like taco bar style, you know, so I'll have like different varieties where people just kind of can make their own, you know, tacos. So whether it's brisket or a chicken tinga or carnitas, and then have all the toppings and they can make their own. Like for Super Bowl, I'll do like build your own nachos. And so then, you know, everybody's just heating up their own nachos. So I like things to be like, you know, do yourself, you know, where it's, you know, it's very teamwork.
Yeah.
And my husband's great at like smoking stuff. So, you know, he'll make, you know, chicken on the smoker. And so it's a group effort, you know, like if my daughter's in town, she's like, okay, what do I make? You make the guacamole, you make this, you know, so it's like, I love having that help in the kitchen.
Nice. And is there one food in special, like your family like requested from time to time? Let's say in our family, we have this, in Venezuela, we have a lot of influence from Italians, Portuguese, so everything is like, you know, mixed up. There's not like certain things. So we have this, we call the lasagna pasticho, which is a bit more dry. And my mom makes a great pasticho, even though we have no Italian references or anything, but she makes it. And then that's a staple on like every 2 or 3 months. Somebody in the family is like, Mom, the pasticho, come on. There's, you know, like, so do you have something like that?
Well, this year I was kind of trying to bring it back. So my grandma was very popular for making enchiladas. And so every Friday she would make enchiladas. But the way she makes them or the way they make them in northern Mexico or even New Mexico style is they stack the tortillas. So they, you know, lightly fry a tortilla, put it in the sauce, and then just stack it. And then you put and just simple, like just onions and cheese and another tortilla and another tortilla. So it's like a little stack. And you don't bake them. Like, you know, if you go to a restaurant, they're like rolled and baked or whatever. So they're dry by the time you get them because the sauce is already soaked in. So this is like, you know, really fresh. And so my grandma would make them every Friday, especially during Lent because we didn't eat meat during Lent. And so it was always enchiladas at grandma's house on Friday. So during Lent this year, we would take turns, you know, me and my cousins, and host Enchilada Fridays. And so it was so cute because my husband's best friend that he works with, he's like, hey, I heard you're doing enchiladas. I'm not invited. Like, so it's fun to like, you know, invite somebody new to come and try these enchiladas that we've always talked about. And we never got sick of them. You know, like we'd have them every Friday and we just always look forward to them. But you make the sauce from scratch and everything's from, you make the arroz, the frijoles, and we'd have margarita. So it was just fun to continue those traditions.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. It's a lot of work though, because I've kind of been trying to plan my, you know, like stick to my friends that I'm the arepa guy. So I've had done arepas to like my closest friend, but when it's a big group, I'm like, this is a lot of work. Oh my god.
Same thing. And then with the enchiladas, you know, it's like you kind of have to, being that they're not baked, it's like you gotta make a plate and then now you go eat. Now you go eat. It's not like really like everybody I mean, we do wait for everybody, but then at the same time, it's like, this person's food's already cold, you know. So it's very family style in that way. It's like, you know, straight to the table and you start now next. So yeah, but it is. It's like, it's an assembly line. Like my kids are like, okay, let's put cheese and onions on yours, cheese and onions. Okay, next plate, you know, so it's So they've got it down.
Nice. Yeah, I guess it becomes easier with time.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I love what you have done.
Thank you.
Your journey, everything. It's so like, it feels a passion, and the way you have pivoted through your career, because it started with blogs and now you're more in social media, right? So yeah, thank you for allowing me to share your experience, and
thank you. Yeah.
This has been great.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm an open book, and if people really are curious, I'll answer any question. And I have a Substack called Cocina to Career, which is also more about behind the scenes of a business.
Okay.
And just not even how to start, but I mean just the good, the bad, the ugly. Everybody thinks it's so perfect and pretty on Instagram, but it's a lot of work. And so I talk about that behind the scenes on my Substack. Okay.
And one of the things that we got from here as well is that, comment into the content, like if you have something that you want to be shown, how Yvette cooks that, or like a recipe that you might be interested in, let us know, because we always are here to, hear our audience and kind of gather what, guide us.
Exactly.
I have talked to Tortilla Factory, and they also take a lot of input from the people that,
the reviews, the comments. I mean, that's what they're there for, and that's what social media is for, to engage and to comment.
Exactly. And also with Ismael, he's letting me know that he made a collab with a sausage company, and now they're doing hot dogs made out of croissant dough. And so and that's turned out super popular because they heard of the people. So I guess connecting with people, it makes better content.
Exactly.
It creates better experiences. So thank you so much, Yvette. And we'll see you in another episode. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, and if you have any comments, let us know. Thank you.
Adios.